We are now live, boys. Forgot to do the
No,
countdown.
we're not.
Oh, too bad.
Now
we
we
are.
We don't need a countdown.
Well,
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hot or Trash podcast.
yeah. I'm your
And I
host,
don't like you.
Brian. Fuck you, Lloyd.
I wasn't referring to you.
I don't care. The world.
Well,
this podcast
anyways,
is about me.
I'm your co-host Victor, and then we got our two permanent guest stars here.
Oh yeah, it's your
Michael.
And then we're
Well,
never
one
just
day,
gonna.
one day we'll get these intros down. One day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah,
Lloyd just
that's
refuses to partake in them. That's all.
fine. Everybody knows our names right now, bro.
But
You
still,
sure about that, bro?
still, you fucked up the flow there, Lloyd. It's all your fault now.
Yeah, blame me, dude.
Anyways, Mr. Bowie, what is the topic for today?
Well, the topic today is that we're just going to talk even more trash about Toyota, but realistically, we'll be talking about hydrogen cars, and it's like, this might be a unrelated sequel to the electric cars that we talked about previously.
Only unrelated because they still fall under the category of, I guess you
EVs.
can say, alternative energy vehicles.
Mm,
So, in the realm of non-gas vehicles, we do have plenty of choices. So that's why we're going to go through them.
yeah,
Today's topic, hydrogen cars.
yeah.
Mm.
And here's the hot take already for this: hydrogen car just sucks. That's it. All right, goodbye, everybody else. I'm kidding.
Good stream, guys. Nice
All right.
podcast.
Wrap it up. I'll be right back.
Oh,
It's all 2 minutes. That was one hell of a speed run.
oh no, I guess we should probably elaborate. Okay, so for anybody that doesn't know, who wants to explain what hydrogen fuel cell cars are, or just hydrogen cars in general?
Cars that
mean-
are powered by hydrogen. Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
But
But
this-
what kind of hydrogen? Gas? Liquid? Solid?
it's like, if only there was such thing as a hydrogen
Yeah.
solid car.
Solid hydrogen?
How would you refill that?
I don't
dude.
know. And if anything, wouldn't hydrogen need to be kept at like sub-zero temperature in order for it to be
No,
solid?
yeah. Very, very cold.
And then it will
Anyways.
be. But yes.
Mr. Bowie, continue explaining.
So we have different variations with the hydrogen cars. I think most notably, we're looking into hydrogen fuel cells, which, if anything, the best way to really look at this is that they kind of just take out, in this case, fuel tanks out of your car and then put in new tanks of hydrogen in there. So if anything, the process of making hydrogen is not deviated to be put in a car, but some other place is manufacturing it. But again, we'll go through all the issues that would cause with just hydrogen manufacturing in general. As of right now, it's a industry that is already existing and is going, but it's not to the same rate that we would need it to scale up to do stuff that, not even just for cars, just for any needs that we want of it right now. So one of the things that, if anything, has got Victor bothered more than anything else really, is in this case Toyota's relentlessness of trying to push for hydrogen cars, and even their newest announcement, I think it was the Sierra that was hydrogen powered.
Oh, what?
I forgot, what was the recent car that they announced that was hydrogen powered?
They only have one right now, and that's called the Mirai.
The Mirai? Oh, okay.
The Marine.
I really thought there was another car. My bad. But obviously right now with hydrogen cars, Toyota is really pushing for this, as in this case they have made a lot of announcements prior to this that they honestly don't think that they can win the electric or the EV market now, just because what we said previously, Tesla has like a literal chokehold on the entire market space.
An entire EV market space.
Yeah. And so they decided to go the other route instead of like trying to, improve on the EV technology that they had. They go the opposite route, which is in this case, hydrogen fuel power cars. Now, there's both arguments for this. That I go for the other argument outside of like saying, oh, at this point, Toyota should really just give up on like the hydrogen fuel project. But realistically, it stems back to what's happening back home in Japan, why there's an initial push for hydrogen powered cars to begin with. But if anything, hopefully that you guys have done your studies and reading materials, because we're about to go into the weeds about a lot of the processes here.
Sorry, I forgot to read which chapter.
Oh, god damn it. We'll figure that part out once we start explaining it. Now, to those that in this case are wondering too, how does like a EV hydrogen car power works too? Initially, what ends up being used to fuel a car using hydrogen is what they do is they put in water, or at least distilled water, because if you use anything else, you gotta figure out how to filter that shit out. So distilled water. And then you run it through an electrolysis, which is just a fancier machine or electrical component that helps separate water to become both hydrogen and oxygen separately. And then afterwards, hydrogen goes back into the system, recombines it with oxygen again to then generate electricity, because hydrogen is passing through some electric battery membrane and whatnot, and la-di-da-da, boom, power. Now, Victor, what were your counter arguments for like most of the hydrogen powered cars? Because a lot of it you have made a lot.
You're talking about a water powered car right now.
Yeah, in this
So
case,
that's
this would
not
be the initial water
technically-
power.
Okay, so let's just talk about that. I mean, obviously, water is heavy. So when you have to have enough water in order to, I guess, power the electrolysis while at the same time powering your car, that just becomes a very inefficient. That just becomes very inefficient, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, not only that, water is a very scarce resource right now. Believe it or not, there's not enough fresh water out there. I mean, sure, we can use salt water, but filtering out all that and making it distilled is an extremely energy-consuming process. I don't think water is a good solution to our hydrogen-powered vehicles.
Right. So, and let's go into that too, because a lot of times that we kind of already saw too, like there was like a study or paper before too, where like the CIA took out a guy that made, in this case, the first automobile car that uses water as a fuel source.
Was it really CIA, or is it just a bunch of big oil guys?
It was. We'll say it's just a bunch of big oil guys, but realistically, when you look at the technology that's there too, it looks like it does work. It does give you power, but at the same time, practically trying to use that on a car would not make sense, just because, like what Victor said, water is fucking heavy. And that would honestly require a more power draw, meaning you would have to have technically more water to even make it sustainable to go longer distance, and it wouldn't make sense in the long run for that. So then the solution that Toyota comes up with is, in this case, trying to do a hydrogen fuel cell, where if anything, all you're really doing is just pumping hydrogen into the car, which, and then you go through the reverse electrolysis effect, where the intake of the car is essentially just oxygen. So essentially you just drive down your street and it'll feed the car oxygen, and then boom, power from there. And quote unquote, the methane, or not the methane gas, the output gas, holy shit, my bad, output gas that will come out of it is technically not even gas. Actually, no, it is a gas, because water vapor is still considered a gas in specific
But it's not water
arguments.
vapor. It's not water vapor. It legit is water coming out of your exhaust.
Yeah, it's water coming out of your exhaust. So for those, it might be a kind of freaky to think about as well. Those that have experience in this case, when your car is in the middle of a flood, and then just water just comes out of the exhaust. So that's something else entirely. But then there's also other studies too, but it's based on that they find there's nitrous oxide that's coming out from the exhaust of the hydrogen powered cars. But then we later figure out it's mostly because of the filtration system that they have in there. So they say nitrous oxide is technically even more dangerous than like other like CO2 emissions byproducts. But at the same time, if anything, if you know and understand where the problem is coming from with the nitrous oxide, then it could definitely be fixed, and then therefore we're good on that. But
I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's still not enough to really affect anything. So
yeah. So in this case for you, Victor, what is your counter argument for fuel cell concept cars?
see, fuel cell right now, the main thing is the way the hydrogen is produced. Our current way of producing it is through, let me see. So hydrogen currently being produced is a byproduct of gasoline, of processing gasoline,
Mhm.
of refining oil to gasoline. So that's where we get our hydrogen from, and that's called dirty hydrogen. So
Dirty.
Or I guess the more euphemistic
That
name
nasty
for
hydrogen.
it is called like gray hydrogen process.
gray, gray. Okay.
Yeah.
Either way, yeah, gray hydrogen. So, I mean, the only way to get that hydrogen is through processing oil, which is a very dirty process, very polluting process. So that's
Yeah.
one thing. I mean, granted, when you have EVs charging up your car, your electricity could come from a fossil fuel power plant, so there's not really like a difference there, really. You're polluting the air while creating the energy for your vehicles. So that's not a real like argument against hydrogen cars. The main thing is the infrastructure. The entire infrastructure for hydrogen cars requires a lot of investment, maintenance, and all that because hydrogen is an explosive gas.
If
So
it wasn't
you gotta,
already more, if fuel itself wasn't already explosive to begin with, imagine hydrogen itself.
Kaboom.
Yeah.
Now, think about it this way.
Well, hold on. Not only is it explosive, you have to maintain an extremely high pressure in order to, when you store hydrogen, you store it at an extremely high pressure, which makes it worse.
Because like anything goes wrong, the hydrogen itself could explode, not from the gas itself, but in this case, faulty like equipment that in this case adds too much pressure and it collapses the fucking vessel that it's in. Or if anything, it blows up the vessels that it's in.
Pretty fatal.
Yeah. And if anything too, if that's already enough, we have made an atomic weapon using hydrogen. That's how explosive that shit is.
Not only an atomic weapon, the largest bomb ever detonated on this planet.
Yeah.
The Tsar Bomba, if anybody isn't familiar with, that's a hydrogen bomb.
Yeah. And that was
the
at that
H-bomb,
point.
as everybody knows about.
And the side tangent, that was the only bomb where everybody agreed with like, okay, maybe we should stop nuclear testing now. But
Indeed.
But yeah, continuing on from the whole infrastructure thing, you have to create a bunch of hydrogen stations with extremely large pressurized containers in order to store this hydrogen in. So all of this takes a lot of maintenance to ensure that things don't blow up. It's a lot of investment up front because you have to have a highly pressurized container. You have to have these kinds of dedicated hydrogen stations in order to charge up a hydrogen car. So the infrastructure is really what gets me in the end.
Mm-hmm.
From the processing hydrogen all the way to the infrastructure.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot to do. It's unnecessary in my eyes. It's like imagine it's just like having another set of gas stations just for hydrogen only.
Yeah. Now, at least the only way that this is actually getting better is if anything, you start seeing like right now the developments of blue hydrogen or green hydrogen. Blue hydrogen, if I remember, is just, using water and electrolysis to get your hydrogen. But with that drawback for that one is doing electrolysis, again, takes a lot of power in order to split like water to become hydrogen and oxygen. Who would have thought?
I think green hydrogen is the same. The only difference is that they just use like renewable energy.
Yeah. In this case, with renewable energies, you don't really need to worry about like wasting, or in this case, needing more resources to put energy, as the resources is technically unlimited with green hydrogen. But again, I think the main issue.
However, there is a small argument to that,
in
a sense where it's taking up a lot of power in order to create hydrogen. Instead, when you just create this power and power an EV directly, it's a lot more efficient because when you have to process the hydrogen, you have to use a lot of energy for that, and then when the hydrogen gets into the car, it then gets converted back to electricity in order for the car to use. So it's an unnecessary conversion that does make hydrogen cars a lot less efficient overall than an EV.
Yeah. Now, the main thing about it too is the fact that, again, we're talking about all this as if we're still looking at using hydrogen to fuel cars, because if anything, the best way that we can showcase the technology is that we put it in a commercial car, which unfortunately is not panning well for like a lot of hydrogen startups or technologies, just because the way how to, in order to address commercial needs, is can it scale up? Technically it could, but it does require, like what you said, a lot of money to invest into the infrastructure, which we do not have. Hell, we barely even had infrastructure to even house a lot of our EV chargers or EV stations.
But yeah, I mean, that's the main difference with EV and why it's a lot more popular is this. You can charge your EV at home.
Yeah.
That's the main difference with EVs that compared to gas cars and hydrogen cars.
So what you're telling me is, if I go the redneck route and produce my own hydrogen, I'm actually technically free from all that. I just got to eat the fucking upfront cost of utilities.
You can do it. Technically, you can do it. Yeah. Just get your own little electrolysis mechanism and you just create your own hydrogen, and hopefully it doesn't explode.
I probably, if anything, I'll get fined by HOA. God damn it. But
yeah, see, with an EV, you know, if you don't want to power your car with dirty electricity, you can always just have like a solar panel on top of your house, and that's it. I mean, you can't get any more greener than that.
Yeah. So if anything, right now, based off all this too, like I said, we're only bashing on Toyota just because right now they are making a huge mistake of going full on onto hydrogen power cars. Now, the only reason I think that in this case they're kind of on the right for this too, just because of what's happening in Japan when it comes to their energy consumption. Japan itself doesn't really have a lot of like natural like resources that they can use to like produce energy. If anything, a majority of their imports are mostly natural gas and oil from other countries, and that's what makes up a lot of their import costs, is just because of that. Therefore, in this case, them actually building like more nuclear power plants is beneficial to them, but still the main issue is that they have to import the nuclear materials still.
I mean, let's be honest, Japan is just a tiny island, not tiny, but it's just an island, so they don't have many resources on there, so they're definitely gonna have to import no matter what.
Yeah. So if anything, I can understand that at Toyota, their efforts on making a hydrogen powered vehicles and cars too is an effort to address, in this case, trying to open up Japan's like technology sector to allow like more hydrogen powered stuff into their system, because beside anything else right now, that's the only thing they can reliably self-sustain themselves with, is making like hydrogen. But
do you really think so? Let me be honest. Do you really think so? Because
I will say with current technology right now, even I don't know if Japan has found some ways to make electrolysis to be like almost net zero power consumption, and they get a fuck ton of oxygen that way. Cool, I'm in for that.
They don't.
Yeah,
but either way, like I'm saying, they don't have like. I mean, well, they have plenty of water, I guess, through like the ocean, but
yeah,
they'll require a lot of like filtering and stuff like that in order to, I guess, start the electrolysis process.
Yeah.
So that's already a lot of energy before you even like put the water put the water through electrolysis. You gotta like filter it a lot, and that's very energy intensive as it is. Then you gotta do the electrolysis, and then go from there. I don't know, like it's very interesting. I'm just very interested. Like they're already like they don't have a lot of power plants that are able to produce that much power for the whole country. So
and it's already unfortunate enough that Fukushima plants actually like whatever like power that was producing too, it did make a really bad blow to Japan's like power economy.
It did. But that's also their own fault, but we won't go there.
Yeah, we won't go there, as that's a little bit too political on that part. At least in Japan's politics.
I've done my research.
Yeah,
well, I've done a school project on this.
Yeah, so we'll keep it. We'll leave that to another day then. So let's go. So if anything right now, it's to really address like, this is probably why Toyota is wanting to try to push for hydrogen, mostly for domestic use cases here too. But if anything, it doesn't really make sense to really try to like branch out and try to have like a lot of other countries try to invest into the hydrogen market. There are like states and other countries that probably are interested in doing it, but I think it's out of the reason because of the fact they kind of only see these cars as still more or less experiments. Even though the Mirai is an actual product that you can buy yourself. However, there's still the issue that like the way how you charge the Mirai is that you need to go to hydrogen stations. And unfortunately, those things cost a lot. Now,
Yeah, I think they're only sold in California too. So
Yeah.
you're not gonna get your hands on a Mirai unless you live in California.
yeah. And on top of all that too, right? Even though they give you, in this case, a gasoline or like a gas credit so that whenever you purchase a car, Toyota will ensure that at least I believe it was like your first 15,000 miles is covered.
They'll give you $15,000
Oh, $15,000
for
my
3
bad.
years. Only for 3 years.
Yeah. So in this case, man, you have had to be driving a lot. And I don't like the fact that they guarantee you $15,000 worth of like hydrogen fuel within a time limit.
I mean, they're already losing money with selling those. So
Yeah, they're already losing money doing it that way. So it doesn't make sense for him to do it like that. But again, there's also the cases that people have found out too that like if you let your hydrogen power car with full tank of gas like sit outside for like 10 days, it will actually run empty. Just because hydrogen has a funny way of like still finding exits out of like a contained vessel.
well, granted, hydrogen is just a singular atom.
Yep. So nothing is forever
it's-
like steel tight.
It's that, and it also has to be maintained at what, negative 25 degrees Celsius, Fahrenheit
I
or
think
Celsius?
the gas doesn't have a strict requirement like the liquid hydrogen does.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because here's the thing though, I don't think if anything based on, so in this case, my knowledge with thermodynamics, as long as the pressure is actually maintained, you could technically keep it at whatever temperature. But
how do we
regardless,
know that gas? And how do we know that that container that Toyota uses doesn't lose pressure?
Yeah, I think
that's
you're also
the
thinking
issue.
of a perfect. You're thinking of a perfect vessel, like that's like a perfect problem
Oh
vessel.
yeah, most definitely. I am.
We were talking about human-made like human-made structures. It's going to not be perfect in the laws of thermodynamics.
So yeah.
It's always bound to lose the energy or gain.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like if anything, I'm also with you on this too, Victor, about like I don't really agree with like Toyota's push for hydrogen powered cars. But then I also like with the same mindset, and I guess Michael also shares this opinion too, right? Where this case I think hydrogen powered like technology should still be like more research and development on. But unfortunately right now too, we just haven't been able to like get to where we need to. And honestly, the only use cases I could see hydrogen powered anything would be used is literally a nuclear fusion reaction. And we haven't, at least we got a reaction started. We just haven't been able to sustain it, at least.
Yeah, I think France was able to start up a reaction. That's about it.
Mm-hmm. So, if anything, that is at least why I don't think hydrogen power is like a future. It is something that like we are definitely going to use later on, but at the moment right now, the technology and also the processes that we use to get hydrogen is far from like ideal. Unless we find like a most efficient electrolysis system, then shit, why not, right? But until then, we have to figure out like a lot of things with it too. Unless like, I don't know.
I'm looking at the specs of the Mirai real quick, and here's what I see. So the car itself costs $50,000 starting off.
Perfect.
So that's already expensive as it is. So but they cover fuel costs for $15,000 or 6 years if you buy it. Okay, so if you buy the car, 6 years. If you lease it, it's only up to 3 years.
But most cases are not. People are probably going to either lease it. Maybe.
Who knows? I don't know. I mean, maybe. So it's up to 402 miles of range. So there's that. So it's a longer range than an EV. you get free fuel for the first $15,000 or 6 years, which is nice. However,
Yeah.
the cost is a bit high compared to an EV, really, an EV of its size. And I don't know the price of hydrogen. I actually want to look that up real quick.
All right. So, if anything, while Victor's looking that up, do y'all have any questions about all this? And if anything, if we were to really compare like Mirai versus like a lot of EV cars, I would honestly say the EV cars are still better in terms of like energy efficiency. Based off like some videos that we've come across too, where in order to produce hydrogen and then use it in cars, to then you drive around it and then compare that to the electric vehicle where all they had to do was really charge it. I think hydrogen, the total efficiency was around like 20%, whereas EVs are like upwards to like
40.
40 or 50.
So hydrogen would be 40% efficiency. EVs are 80.
80%. So there's really not much of like a
also
fair
when we say efficiency, we also mean from power production to actually being put into your car.
Yeah, because at least with the EV, you can at least have like your entire like EV power charging come directly from green renewable energy sources, because there's at least that benefit. But right now with hydrogen fuel cells, until we have like developed or there's like more breakthroughs in the space too where we can safely transfer hydrogen, we can't find, or there's no loss of hydrogen whenever we transport stuff, or just a better efficient system, maybe we consider. But until then as well too, we'll have to wait and see. I saw like a video too, Michael. Yeah, I saw a video too, Michael, that you could technically have like a generator run off of water. That was a fun experiment. I don't know if it's that useful. I would like to build it just because it's essentially you slap a typical fuel generator, take out everything about it, and just build an electrolysis next to it, and it powers a compressor. And it generates power that way, and it's actually interesting.
No, that sounds pretty interesting.
Only because
Indeed.
like I want to know how much power it takes to power the electrolysis and how much it's actually producing to allow us to get power from it, because he can actually do power tools with it. So
yeah, y'all should do that experiment. Just make sure it doesn't explode.
and it's fine. It's only electrolysis and mostly water. The only thing that we got to make sure it's not near is like anything spark related, because you know hydrogen and oxygen do not like to flames or sparks.
Oh yeah.
Man.
All right,
Look.
so I found the numbers. I have the numbers.
All right.
So the Toyota Mirai has a 5.6. They measure in kilograms. So 5.6 kilogram tank. And in California, which is where majority of all the hydrogen stations are, the average price is $16.51.
God, per what,
So
kilogram?
filling, yeah, per kilogram. My bad. Yeah. So for a full tank of gas, you're looking like at least $92.
Oh my goodness.
$92 to go 400 miles. Let's keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Jeez. To also
Yeah.
to those that do not understand the metric system, 1 kilogram is equal to 2.2 pounds.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, dude, I don't know these non-freedom units.
Yeah. What the fuck is a kilometer?
The fuck is a kilogram?
But yeah.
Yo.
But
Now, let's see. Oh, hold on.
Okay.
To compare. But I really can't compare this because everybody's electricity rates are vastly different.
But in
Actually, this won't be a good comparison.
Well, let's just say in your let's just say based on what you have, because people can probably like, if anything, we can all at least adjust our expectations based off like here and there, and we can have like a range.
So in my neighborhood, I pay a fairly low electricity rates, about 13 cents per kilowatt hour.
Mm-hmm.
And my car is about a 60 kilowatt hour battery, I believe. So if I have to fill up my car from 0 to 100, which I never do, but if I have to, it would be around $8. But that's just purely taking the price of electricity multiplied by the size of my battery. There's going to be there's going to be a few inefficiencies here and there, so I'm sure it's going to be like around the $10 mark.
Yeah.
And
So
that would
if
be around 270 miles of range.
Yeah. So imagine that, like 270 miles, and you only need to pay like at least roughly $10 to $15, depending on where you live. If you're paying around $15 for your car too, man, move out of that area, please.
I know. I'm sure there are plenty of places that are double my electricity rate, so it could get expensive.
Yeah, it could get expensive, but maybe some people can't really control that. So based on this too, based on the arguments that we've already been having, would you guys even see yourself like owning a hydrogen powered car?
Never.
I would not.
Yeah.
If it takes $92 for me to fill it up, and I only go 400 miles, that's so inefficient.
Yeah,
this is very expensive.
Especially like regular cars too, like gas prices. I'll even say this too. I average pay like around $35 to $40, and I drive roughly around 270 to 300 miles per trip.
Per tank.
Yeah, per tank, I mean. But then that's also given the fact too that like I never have my gas tank like past the quarter mark.
Wait, you said around 270, 300. That's for how much? 40 some dollars?
Yeah, $40 to $35.
I mean, yeah, Camrys are efficient, man. They're not fuel sucking vehicles.
Yeah.
But that means you can go close to 600 miles for the same price as a Mirai. That goes 400 miles.
Yeah, essentially. And it's like it makes no sense for like anybody else that already has a fuel efficient car to try to transition to a hydrogen fuel car, because that was the main argument that a lot of media was trying to point to, that hydrogen would have been like a gateway to transition into EVs. But obviously that's a terrible way of like looking at this either. We already had hybrid cars. Toyota makes really good hybrid cars. It's just a fact that nobody likes hybrid cars.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
Yeah, and if you think about it right now, the Prius has looked way better than its predecessors. Now, if that doesn't tell you anything, that like we should have been driving hybrids, that was the goal too. Everybody should have been driving hybrids to begin with, but a lot of people were against it due to multitude of reasons, such as A, marketing for hybrid cars kind of suck. B, there are also really complicated cars to work on. And C, yeah, nobody just liked it, and they don't want to like give up their cars essentially for
that's a weird thing, because hybrid cars are much more reliable than their internal combustion counterpart.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. These are in this case the arguments that are stated based on like things that I've heard when like a lot of either media sites are talking about, or there's like a bunch of car community threads that talk about it.
Media.
Yeah. Or Redditors.
Even worse.
Yeah.
Keyboard warriors.
Oh god.
If anything, a hybrid version of Brian's Camry can go up to 52 miles per gallon.
Yeah, see how fucking insane that is? Shit, I should have went for the hybrid. Oh well. Oh well.
Go back in time. Go back in time.
It's too late now. My dad would not let me to get a hybrid for whatever reason. Anyways, I won't go past that.
What?
Personal reason. We'll talk an off podcast for that.
My personal reasons.
Wild. But no, I think the true transitions to EV should have started with hybrids.
Mm-hmm.
This is what the whole car industry gets for just doing a quick shift to electricity, or EV only.
Mm-hmm. Like, don't get me wrong too, a lot of the car companies do make hybrids, but unfortunately, what I stated from my first problem, it's not marketed well at all. Just because like a lot of American car companies, this is also something that's also their fault as well too. They only push for, like in this case, the biggest trucks, the biggest SUV. Hey, look, this is a callback to our previous topic as well.
Yeah,
they've
truck
only,
mod.
Yeah, they only push for those as well too, because they know that's what sells. And if anything, that makes it even more profitable if they make them luxury based. So then you get the more casual audience, I'll say the least. casual audience to buy into
you
the
mean by
trucks because of the fact that it has a lot of fancy, luxurious features,
think Brian
backup
DC'd.
camera, sensors. Oh wait, hold on, what?
Hey, I think the stream just went offline.
What?
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
he did. He DC'd.
Oh no! Hold on, it's
Oh my
reconnecting.
fucking god.
Okay, we're back on live.
Wait, there we go.
Okay.
All right,
Alright,
slight
so-
hiccup, guys. Sorry about that.
Sorry, I don't have strong internet here. Fuck you, AT&T.
Damn, bro. Jeez.
Yeah, anyways, where did I get cut off there? Shit, I don't remember. I'll go back a few bits so that we'll get.
It was
You're
like you were
talking
talking
about
about
trucks.
big trucks
Go a little bit
and big
back in the script.
SUVs. Then
Yeah.
I asked you,
Yeah, hold
I
on.
asked you about
Go a
how it's
little
more
back
geared
on-
towards casual people.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's more geared towards like casual people too, just because again, lots of times a lot of casual people would not care much about car specs. Now, in this case, mileage, and in this case, your 0 to 60 time, sure, that's marketable. But if anything, that's something that in our eyes does not really matter to us, but to them it does, because ooh, low number me go faster or some shit. I don't know why it's a thing that we still cling on to, let's be honest here. But moving on from that,
0 to 60.
the 0 60,
Oh,
yeah, it's mostly a
I
marketing
don't know,
ploy.
man. Yeah, it is. People just want to go zoom. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
zoom, and we fucking don't know how to drive the car. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
zoom into a curb.
Yeah. So if anything, all the luxury trucks that are out there too, they just have all the features that, in this case, that are nice to have in cars for sure. But that's in this case what Ford and GM are practically doing on their side, and therefore, because of their hard push on that, they don't have any allocating development budget to try to make something new to pivot into. Because let's be honest, right now they're in such a dire state right now, they could technically just die off if they can't transition to match like Tesla's production.
Yeah, it's so weird. They also barely make any hybrids. I mean, they do, but like barely.
Yeah.
Crazy. The government has been very strict on the I guess the EPA rating because they want to reduce emissions and all that. But these American car companies have essentially ignored all that.
They ignored all that by paying off the fines.
It's interesting. They don't pay off the fines. What I hear they do is they pay other companies that produce green energy. The tax credit. What the green what is
the carbon
what is it
tax
called?
credit.
Carbon tax credit. There's
Oh man, we could do a
What is
podcast about that. Okay, we'll do a podcast episode on that, but to put it in layman's term that we'll probably set up in the future, it's essentially a way for companies for them, they won't exactly reduce carbon emissions, but in this case, they'll send money to another company that will help them make that company seem greener by doing more stuff to make the environment more healthier, kind of shit.
So they pay other companies money to essentially just be more greener.
Then they are.
That's not exactly not exactly how it is, but that's like the best way to explain it.
Yeah. It's a rabbit hole. There's already a video that kind of explains that really well. I want this to be another topic from another time because it gets interesting. But
It does.
But yeah, but put in layman's terms, that's pretty much what Ford and GM has done to really like offset, in this case, their EPA ratings or like any of the fines that would be coming to them if they're not trying to address these issues. But obviously because of that now, well, Tesla is about to fucking beat them in like the whole market space. Hell, they already have. And if anything, you look at, in this case, some of the margins that they make. Hell, Tesla makes more money off of their cars alone. Like you said around $1,000 they make per car sale?
1,000, 10,000, bro.
10,000. Okay, it's even way more.
Other zero car companies come close to that margin.
Yeah, and you can arguably say that Toyota was that at one point or another, but nowadays too, they can't even keep up with like all the newer technologies now, because half the time the way how a lot of people kind of say it, the way how me Victor see it, they are just really slow at trying to like adapt to this. Henceforth, that's why like people say, oh, they're just trying to weed out and try to like wait out the technology so that they can later implement it with a solid foundation. Obviously, it's not working for them. All their EV cars haven't sold well.
It's not a bad idea. I mean, it's not a bad idea. It's worked for them all these years. The only difference why it's an issue now is because the American government, Chinese government, European government, the three biggest markets for cars, they're
Mhm.
extremely strict on pollution right now, and then majority of them will transition to EVs by 2030
Yeah.
and beyond. So
Yeah.
that's the problem that all these car companies are facing because of these new regulations.
Yeah. I will say debatably China does have some questionable regulations when it comes to carbon emissions, but yeah, it's essentially still the same regardless. But yeah, I don't know. Like, even if you saw the option to for you guys, now that in this case you say no to like buying a Toyota Mirai as well, would you in this case buy a Tesla Model 3 or buy a Toyota BZ4X?
I've
Which
been
is
wanting
their-
a Tesla Model 3. It's nice.
Michael rides in my car too much.
Yes. What, are you telling me it's not good?
No,
No,
it's
hold
good.
on. I'm also waiting for Loy's answer too, because it seems like he is thinking about it.
I am, yes.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, if you just ask that question outright, then it's going to be hard to give an answer because they both are EVs.
Yeah, they're both EVs.
However, what you need to take into account is cost, maintenance, and all the extra stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Which if anything too, yeah, that is going to be the underlying factor. I think right now the only issue right now is like, at least for me, I begrudgingly accept this fact too, as I would in this case go for a Tesla car over in this case the Toyota, even a Hyundai's like EV cars. And Hyundai is the only car company right now that's actually keeping pace, arguably. But in realistic terms, Tesla is already far ahead of everybody.
You know, low-key, if Hyundai improves their car in terms of like the technology inside, because they do have a lot of problems, if they do improve their car, I would buy that.
But until then as well too, yeah, it is one of those things too, like Tesla is like the car company. In this case, I already made my arguments in the past too, where like I kind of saw them as more like a technology based company than a car company, but as the years have rolled on too, they have actually integrated themselves really well in the market space now. They've even addressed a lot of the quality issues that they had near towards the beginning. Like, if anything, Victor, have you had any quality issues in your car?
No, honestly, the most I've ever had is rattling of somewhere, but it's probably something in my car.
Oh, okay. But yeah, outside of that too, a lot of the concerns and a lot of the things that Tesla did do, that's the only thing I will give them credit for, is the fact that they are really fast at responding to complaints. There was at some point too where their cars did combust for a bit, but then that was all immediately rectified.
That was in the early days. Like, nowadays you have never heard. I mean, you do hear them from time to time, but
it's not
very
a Tesla
rare
car.
to hear. Yeah, it's not. No, I mean, well, what I'm saying is it's very rare to hear a Tesla combust nowadays.
Yeah. So there's that going for you. So really, again, I could, if anything, you could probably see why in this case Toyota would in this case try to go into hydrogen development, but again, it doesn't really make sense for them in the long run here.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think any company pursuing hydrogen makes sense really, because I mean Hyundai has a hydrogen car, but it's not really,
their main focus is the thing though.
Yeah, it's not really marketed. It's not really marketed well, really.
It's not marketed well, and also I think based on like what I saw from their hydrogen promotion, for those that don't know what it is, it's whenever they release the Ioniq 6 and they release their N or the Ioniq 6N racing model, which that one is a hydrogen powered car. Now, the only difference is that I don't think people can actually buy that hydrogen powered car normally.
No, it's a concept.
Yeah, it's a concept car, and it's something that I think they're really being tuned into, like the racing scene now. I think that's what's going on there.
Yeah, I mean they did hire the old head of BMW M, so yeah, they're definitely getting into that racing scene.
But I digress. This is just saying this is
Yeah.
our hot take about it too. I don't think Toyota should really do hydrogen cars if they care about actually lasting for a very long time.
Yeah, I also thought that big commercial vehicles like semi trucks, 18 wheelers, and all that such could use hydrogen because you can go much
Yeah.
further with it. But half of me still thinks that way. That it still makes more sense for 18 wheelers, like what Nikola was doing. If you guys know that controversial company,
Oh,
uh, no, essentially they make hydrogen 18 wheelers, but it's their CEO put the company through a whole mess. So it's
Yeah.
whatever. Either way, I still half of me still thinks that hydrogen could work for like long haul trucks like that because they have much longer range,
Yeah.
and hydrogen is a lot lighter than a ton of batteries being stuffed into the car or stuffed into the tractor like a Tesla semi.
Yeah. And they can argue about like nitty gritty details that like it's still heavier than like most fuel powered cars or fuel powered 18 wheeler trucks. Yeah. But again, the point being is the fact that it has, in this case, a very impressive range before you need to like stop to put more gas into it. Now, this could also help out a lot of times too, where like if they're like long hauler trucks too, you can technically have like these hydrogen stations be away from a lot of like potentially dangerous areas too. If anything does happen, it will at least happen in a isolated area where not a lot of people will get hurt by it, outside of maybe in this case, the people in that area to begin with, but it's relatively smaller than the populous area for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure as long as they maintain it right, I think it's perfect. As long as they build it right, really, it should be perfectly fine. Either way,
yeah.
I mean, on the highways right now, there's already plenty of those giant refueling stations for 18 wheelers. They could easily repurpose that for hydrogen.
Yeah. It'll just be like, oh, how would you power the electrolysis? Literally just build like a fuck ton of like wind power or solar farms.
You don't do that.
Oh,
I mean, well, not at the station.
All right, fair enough.
You transport the hydrogen to the station. It's literally like how gas is made. And they have a refinery somewhere, and then they transport the fuel to the gas station. Same thing with hydrogen. They make it somewhere else, and then they transport it to the fuel stations.
All right, fair enough. I was just trying to be cheeky with that.
I think that's the only place where I think that's the only use case for hydrogen in terms of a vehicle sense where I can see hydrogen being used.
Yeah, because at least I also agree.
Most definitely not for commercial, most definitely not for cars that normal people drive on the daily.
Yeah, that's something that like personal like vehicles that people can like just have like hydrogen power cars. It would be really cool to see more of that, really. But like what you said, Victor, the company Nikola kind of just like shot that idea to the grave, unfortunately.
They're still up. I mean, they're still trying to make the hydrogen truck. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Well, if anything, that is pretty much where it is. Unless Toyota wants to dip into that market too, go right ahead. I don't think anybody's really stopping them from doing that either. But again, it's like the problem.
Do they even make 18 wheelers?
I
know Hyundai does, and Hyundai does have a hydrogen truck. Not like 18 wheeler, but like one of those box trucks.
So that's what I'm also curious too. Would it be better if Toyota, if they wanted to do hydrogen powered, that rather than making cars for it too, they just sell like, in this case, commercial vehicles?
Yeah, Hyundai's already doing that.
Hey, at least it'll be competing with them in something, at least.
Korea number one.
Because
they make hydrogen buses already. Oh, yeah. What do you know? Oh, they do have a 18-wheeler hydrogen truck. Oh, shit. Damn.
Okay, why? Okay, well, there we go. But if anything, all this really means as well too is that I don't think right now the personal car market spaces for hydrogen just doesn't fit well, unfortunately. That's literally the only hot take about this as well, or maybe a trash take for all those Toyota fanboys. No, I don't think hydrogen powered cars actually will be thing that will save Toyota from whatever's going to be like facing in the next few years. Hell, even if they last that long. Hell, I don't even know if they will last a few more years too, because they still have like a lot of other EV lines that they have yet to release yet. Based on like the last, I think it was like a presentation they did a year or two ago, where they were revealing like slowly all the lines of EV cars that they were going to do, both from like Toyota,
Yeah.
Lexus, and Subaru.
Lexus is supposed to have like 20 plus EV models or something. I don't know what happened to that.
Yeah, we saw in this case the leak photo, not really a leak photos, but like an early look on like one of the Lexus's EV cars. It actually looks pretty fucking cool.
Which one? Because I already have one out.
Let me see here. I remember, what was it? The channel Super Blonde did a video about this. I think it's the Lexus R. No, the Lexus RZ is the electric SUV, so that's not that one. Fuck, yeah, I can't find it. But I think the best way to really describe it is the fact that, do y'all remember in this case the Lexus LFA?
No.
Yes.
It was in this case only a few car models actually ever existed to, because it was also a concept car. But the only reason it never sold that much, or there was never a lot of it, was because the entire frame and body itself was made out of carbon fiber all the way through.
What?
Yeah, that was the ridiculous thing about it. It was like the really sturdy, and it was like lightweight supercar. And it looked...
It's a supercar, that's why it's made out of full carbon fiber, so that shouldn't be like surprise, I guess.
Yeah, it shouldn't be surprising, but if anything right now too, I will 100% think too that the LFA is just an acronym for looks fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But I say unfortunately too that like I wish that it sold better, but at the same time this was also a concept car itself as well, because the LFA itself, even though the car itself died out too, a lot of the design language can be seen in all of their other Lexus cars, like the IS, for example. The IS is probably the closest thing that resembles that to the older LFAs. And now, Super Blondie gives a video tour of the LFA EV successor. I'll link it to you guys in the chat here. This one too, I guess. For those that are watching, oh god damn it, I have to sign in through here. What? All right, no, what? Nah, we'll figure it out later. Someone else that's also watching could also post this as well. Hopefully, it's 3 of you guys.
Who?
What?
What?
I posted in this case the EV LFA in the Discord chat.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. So if anything, that is the car that I think it looks really fucking cool. It kind of reminds me of like the old 90s Batmobile, kind of.
It does. It has like 30 feet long nose.
Yeah, the 30 feet long front right there too. I love this. It looks so ridiculous, but I love to drive it. Like, I mean, here's the thing about it. I think right now, that's me saying it in like a worst case scenario too, that like Toyota itself will probably die off as a company if they don't transition soon, or if they don't find anything soon. But there's a lot of things that they already have under their belt that can actually save them. Like, for example, Lexus is actually coming out with banger ideas and banger projects. Even though they are part of Toyota, it's essentially like a Toyota 2.0, just luxury.
It is. It's a luxury brand of Toyota. That's how it is.
Yeah. But I still think too that like Lexus itself could probably give something back to Toyota, or if they
That's also usually how it works.
Yeah.
A lot of Lexus technologies are now being found in Toyota cars, the newer Toyota cars.
Yeah. Just only one take about all this. Just for anyone that works for Toyota as well, please get rid of the yoke steering wheel. For the love of God. Please get rid of that. God damn it. Why do people love the yoke steering wheel? This will be an only tangent that maybe I will have here. Who knows?
Are you sure about that, Mr.
Oh,
Krebs?
like I said, that's why I throw in a maybe. But I don't know. The yoke steering wheels need to go. Hydrogen fuel power cars.
Need to go.
Yeah. As much
Well,
as I
technically, they do need to go.
Yeah, because like if anything, it's hurting Toyota a lot more the more they try to push for development
See,
for these cars.
it's hurting them because nobody else invests into hydrogen to begin with. So it's gonna be very hard for them to be the only one. Well, not really the only one, but like one of the few that are actually investing into this technology.
Mm-hmm. And let's be honest, like, yeah,
You know, like it costs a lot to build a station for hydrogen cars, and nobody's building no. There's not many companies building stations for hydrogen cars, which is why everything is so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, guys. I think it's better if you stick if you don't want an EV, stick to a hybrid. Let me be completely honest. That's a
yeah,
lot better than a pure gas car.
yeah. Just because,
Indeed.
yeah, right now, like anybody else that wants a hotter trash take for this, I don't even think this would be a hotter trash take. This is sort of, let's say, an actual like good advice for this. Look into like buying hybrid cars if you're that worried about like the current state of like the electric vehicle market, and also maybe you can't make 100% like conversion to EVs. There's nothing wrong with getting hybrid cars. Let's be honest here.
I think it's a much better choice in the interim.
Yeah. And if you want to feel better about yourself too, you can buy the Toyota Prius, because at least the Prius looks very nice.
Or if you don't want to stand out, just get a Camry hybrid.
Yeah. Yeah, Camry hybrid also works too. But at the same time,
Or
I would have
literally
actually
any other hybrid that Toyota makes, really, like the
Yeah.
RAV4, even a Highlander.
Yeah, like I forget too, those are fucking hybrids, as they also have hybrid
Yeah,
options
nice.
too. That's actually cool.
The Highlander is like 36 miles to the gallon, bro. Like it's pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know.
Big
You
Big
think they
SUV is pretty good.
Yeah, because at this point right now too, I think Toyota, like people in this case should buy the hybrid cars, but I think right now it's also too late for Toyota to still keep marketing for hybrids. Do you think?
Oh yeah, it's definitely too late. The whole world's transitioning to EVs right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll keep it with that. Hold on one second, I'll be right back.
Well, that boy's just gone.
He's done dilly gone.
Didn't say it.
So Michael,
No.
how do you feel about hydrogen cars?
I mean, I still think that they need to go through their failing, because you may never know what we learn from it.
Yeah, I mean there is there's obviously
but-
research and
but-
development potential for sure.
Here's the caveat to it. Do you think they should still continue at the risk of potentially losing their business?
That's their decision. I wouldn't make that, but that's their decision. Maybe
Look,
maybe they'll do it for the betterment of science.
If we're doing it for the betterment of science, that literally gets, like in this case, you can literally say it's like a college project instead.
Yeah, I know. I know it sounds extreme saying that hydrogen's what's causing them to potentially go bankrupt, but that's not the case. The case is they won't make any different cars outside of gas cars.
Yeah, like that's also the biggest argument right now too. And we can say too, like they're pushing for a hydrogen power car. That's something else, right? No, if anything, that actually will be another financial suicide for them.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like imagine the R&D development cost, how much it was when they developed the Mirai initially. Like holy shit, I can't even imagine like developing a fuel cell or hydrogen fuel cell technology, and then again, once they put so much money into this, releasing it, and only people in California could technically use it.
Bro, I mean, even developing a new gas car is already very expensive as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
so you can imagine what a fuel cell could be like. Probably equally as expensive or more.
Yeah.
Probably more since nobody really buys it.
God. But yeah, that's their current state right now with hydrogen powered cars and all the bad things that are tied to that. It's not essentially bad. It's just a minor of like, we don't have like the time, resources, nor did we actually have the foresight to actually build infrastructure to support hydrogen. That was the problem. Because the issue that we have right now is that a lot of the things that we have when it comes to EV or hydrogen power cars, and we're trying to build infrastructure, we are literally building it as like it comes. We didn't really like have like future proofing stuff. But then Victor also has like argument about like, is it even possible to future proof everything here?
Yeah, how
Which-
can you future proof something you don't really know about? So you didn't know about hydrogen before. So before they made the car, there's really like not much knowledge on these hydrogen cars. So how would we know to build stations?
Yeah. Which, if anything, I do have to relent on that too. But I still think at least there should be at least like something enough where it would be easily enough that we could just upgrade and maintain. But obviously, that can only take you so far until you get back to the point that Victor has made. Like, how would you even like foresee that far into the future?
But even if you did, nobody's using it. So why would you waste that money?
Yeah. So yeah, for anyone else, buy EVs, buy hybrids. You could buy hydrogen power cars if you wanted to, but have fun trying to fuel that bitch up.
Yeah, if you want to and live in California.
God damn. Yeah, living in California.
Which
damn
is
game.
worse.
Okay, we won't go too much into that. That's its own separate issues that they have there. And I will at least leave it at this for the purposes of this channel. The only times we will ever talk about California is if they actually start addressing problems. That is it. But until then, yeah, I'm not going to be talking much about it other than to just make fun of them.
God damn.
Yeah, California.
Yeah, like let's be honest though, that was like why California decided to also make a push for hydrogen like first for their cars. Sure, it may seem like they're trying to do all this for like all for the green initiative and whatnot too, but none of them really seem to realize like, oh well, shit, we don't really have like the technology available to develop the infrastructure for that.
Technology,
and even if
and also the money, bro.
yeah. Albeit, you can definitely say too that like there was probably U.S. grants or other loans that California had to like go through to try to build like few hydrogen stations here and there.
I think there are subsidies, government subsidies.
Yeah, there's some that are out there too, and even to that too, like a calculated drive from Los Angeles, driving from one of the in this case a hydrogen gas station. If you drive all the way out to Las Vegas, have fun trying to get back home because you will run out of gas by the time you reach Las Vegas.
You'll run out of hydrogen.
Yeah, you'll run out of hydrogen, and guess what? Las Vegas does not have hydrogen fuel stations.
Oh no.
So if anything, it's just like,
Shame.
well, yeah, it seems like you're gonna probably have to Uber back home. Yeah, driving a Mirai to Las Vegas is literally a one-way trip. Unless you want to do the redneck method and try to build your own electrolysis system to like fuel into your Mirai. But at the same time, we don't recommend that.
Nah, bro, you do you. Don't listen to Brian.
Yeah, dude.
All right, fine. Then do you blow yourself up or your car or anything else. I don't know. Or if anything, it just won't work to begin with. Who knows?
We don't condone it, but we can't tell you what to do at the same time.
Yeah. Like I said, like in our catchphrase that we're trying to push out, say, we are subjectively correct, but you're objectively wrong.
Sure.
I made that slogan.
I know. If anything, fine. I'll give you fucking dime for that shit, all right?
I request royalties every time you say it.
God damn it. I probably won't be able to remember that. I probably won't be able to remember the structures of that sentence. I'm going to be honest with you.
I knew this boy was a scammer.
Hey, fuck you.
Damn.
But I don't know. Do you guys have any other insightfulness or anything other criticisms about this whole hydrogen shit?
I definitely don't have any more insightfulness.
But true, we can't be insightful in something that we literally don't know much about. And even if we did know a lot about, where there's a lot of papers that show too. Hydrogen itself, despite like it being conceptualized in, I believe, the 70s, Actually, no, I take
Something
that.
like that.
I'll take that further back. It'll
It's,
probably
it's
be around the
definitely the early years whenever the guy made the water car.
yeah. And when they made the water car, and also the idea of electrolysis itself is something that like has already been like theorized and thought of too, and they could use hydrogen for maybe a fuel source. But guess who? In this case, the biggest fuel like taker, or in this case, the biggest consumer of hydrogen, NASA.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
but honestly, until like maybe if anything, NASA develops like a really cool method of like getting the most bang out of like a hydrogen fuel cell, as in NASA, please let me use your rocket engine to slap into my car.
Yeah.
But until like if anything, NASA does report, or in this case publish a lot of like the new technologies that they have about turning, in this case, getting the most amount of power you can from like a hydrogen burning or hydrogen combustion process, then we're kind of sitting in this case a actual technology like plateau for at least until then. Until we actually see breakthroughs in it, like what I stated earlier. If the electrolysis is that we could put less energy into it and still give us a lot of hydrogen out, that'd be perfect for us.
I
But
think
until
what he
then.
means is- oh yeah, never mind.
Yeah. But until then as well, it's hydrogen just won't be like, in terms of the capitalist mindset, it's not going to be market friendly.
Not at all.
Yeah. And
All right,
until
well, I have a question for all of y'all.
Hmm.
What do you think about the world's push to electrification, or at least to green energy vehicles? The push, and I ask this because I feel like they're pushing it very quickly. They're giving a very short timeline in order to give companies. I mean, they're pushing a very short timeline to get green cars out of there. Oh my god.
Maybe
This
they.
man cannot speak.
I know what you're going for, and I think they may know something that they're not telling us.
Put on our tinfoil hats, guys.
Put on our tinfoil hats, gents.
Because I do think they are pushing it very quickly, and all these car companies are not at all like pursuing this. So I wonder if the companies are going to, I mean, not the company, the government will go through and keep the mandate of having only green cars being produced, or are they going to walk back on it? What do you guys think?
I will say
Difficult
in this case, the ideal approach to that would be the fact that they would kind of have to stick by this, because in the future we're going to be driving EV cars into anyways. But because like what you stated earlier about like how a short time frame it was to like try to convert everybody to purchase like EV cars or to produce only EV cars, yeah, I think they might have to like walk back a little bit on that. Only because a couple things too. Cars itself were not adopted as fast, even when it was first conceived.
My question first is this a worldwide thing, or governments kind of around the world trying to
Yeah.
switch all to EVs immediately?
They wanna essentially eliminate pollution, or
Yeah.
eliminate emissions as much as possible.
Then I think it actually just depends on which government we're talking about now. Then
It's a government or country that you're in. But let's say,
Yeah.
for example, we'll keep it into the US because that's where we live. In a good
oh,
old
the U.S.
freedom
will
land.
the U.S. will eventually double back, seeing that half the politicians and people in government are actually just in the pockets of the businesses anyway. So they'll probably double back anyway at some point.
At some point, but at the same time, in the true like capitalistic market or the market space itself, it will transition into EV space regardless of what government entity wants to like prohibit, ban, or legislate. Won't matter. People will realize in this case too that EV cars just make more fundamentally better sense for them in a financial long run here. Obviously, when it comes to resources, there'll be a big cost in resources initially, But at some point, once everybody does have EV, it will actually just plateau downwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will just drop because a lot of more people will just stop buying cars, and it'll just be all EV cars.
Do you
Hey,
think
the new model, the new Model 3 with a tax credit is around 28 grand nowadays.
nice?
Dude, bro, sign me up.
Yeah, do it, Lloyd. You can also trade in your car to probably lower that even further. Maybe you
Okay,
should probably fix the
I
dent.
want you to know, for context, my car is a piece of crap with a bunch
Look,
of holes in it. Okay,
look, it doesn't hurt to try anyways.
If
I
I were to
probably
try to
get
trick
like a couple hundred at
So,
this
Yeah.
point.
$3. I'll buy it for
look.
$3.
Hold on there, Victor.
You fucking sold.
Wait, hold on a minute. Lloyd, you can't be doing this.
it's probably a
damn
bicycle
it.
instead.
I can't. A person should live with the repercussions of their actions.
You don't have to, but at the same time, it's like
Yes, you do.
you gotta do your best at least to like make as much money
I-
out of your car as you could.
You do
Despite
know
the
I'm
fact, I know.
No,
So-
you're not.
No, you're not.
Start.
I just want
talking
you to
for
know it has depreciated in value 13 years now.
Look, it's not as
14.
bad as like driving off of like the Ferraris, like lot depreciation. At least there's that.
Granted, it's Toyota, so it's lasted me a while.
Yeah, so we'll see too. Maybe you could do the other thing too. Just sell it on Facebook Marketplace.
I will never.
Well, there's that at least.
If somebody wants fucking a whole ridden car, then be my guest, bro. I'll sell it to you. I'll finesse you. Easy.
Often.
And like, this is
What?
gonna be the best car you ever own. Very reliable and doesn't break down as much. As it does.
Slaps roof of car rattles everywhere.
Yeah, dude.
Hand imprint on the roof of the.
But yeah, does that,
Yeah.
but yeah, does that answer your question mostly, Victor, or did you also want to add something with it?
What is y'all's
Just-
conspiracy that they want to switch us to electric?
All right, that's it. Let me put on my tinfoil hat here. They want to do that because if all the EV cars are going to be all electrolyzed and all have computers and whatnot, they're just going to hijack our cars and we will have no autonomous control of ourselves. All right, I'm taking off now. I don't know why I threw out that accent. I'm so sorry.
No, like give your like real like tinfoil hat-ish if you have one.
No, this is if
I love
anything.
conspiracies.
So
What's this
this
tinfoil
is
hat?
this is mostly a
That was
very.
that's,
This
That
is
was
like
goofy.
in this case a very estranged, like very far out thing too. But if anything, if it does come out to that as well, depending on a lot of the EV cars, I think Tesla right now was under fire initially too, because half the time a lot of Tesla cars in China, they had to like report all of the data that the car was like saving and gathering and then report it back to the Chinese government, which if anything, that's just how they run in the first place. Now,
I don't actually. That there's two things to that.
mhm.
The other one thing is what you just said. The other thing is that the Chinese government are scared of Tesla because that information can also go back to the U.S. government.
Yeah, which is again also another thing as well. Like, I would rather in this case if like EV car companies or any company that's about to make EV cars that have like a lot of like software integration and whatnot too, to them to be able to practice in this case like protecting customer privacy rights. That is all I really ask for. And if the government is really pushing for that too, it's going to make it so fast to the point too where companies would not have enough time to develop any safe mechanisms to protect their customer data. However,
Yeah,
that is
I mean, like,
assuming
customer data protection.
Normal gas cars already have like a lot of
Yeah.
technology built into them already. So I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, but that again, that is still assuming they care about protecting us in the first place. That's just my tinfoil hat here. That I don't think they would care, and a lot of car companies would actually be all for it because let's be
well,
honest.
Tesla cares because
Mm,
that data is their business.
yeah. So we'll see about that. That'll be it for my tinfoil hat. They're trying to rush it so that a lot of car companies won't have enough time to like develop a really good way to do their own data protection stuff. And
Yeah, I don't
if-
know. I don't see that as a good like conspiracy theory because like I said, normal gas cars can have the same level of software tracking.
Oh yeah, most
I
definitely.
mean, some they already do. A lot of them already do. So
Yeah. Have you ever seen videos of, in this case, a hacker actually hack a person's car? That shit is fucking wild. That
Wait, how do you
the
hack a-
videos.
their quote unquote hack is just a relay attack. That all that really means is they have like a little antenna that gets the signal from the key fob and then just starts up the car like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you hack it? Because like, real hacking isn't like those sitting in front
Over
of a
the
keyboard and
internet.
just typing away. Or usually, like real hacking is just someone clicking on the wrong email. So how does
Yeah.
someone in a car click on the wrong email? I don't think it's
The
hacking.
car
Is
clicks
it?
on the wrong email.
Yeah. But there are, in this case, a lot of sophisticated devices too that can, like, in this case, a lot of car technologies right now, they're mostly using, in this case, broadband, like signaling, like in this case,
Yeah.
radio waves, like infrared stuff.
Yeah.
It was just curious because like you obviously the technology in a car you don't interface like a computer. So like how would they have gotten into it is the question.
Yeah.
And
I
it
mean,
signals.
there
wouldn't it
is
be?
a car, or there is a video out there where it's from the Wired. It's from 8 years ago, right? And yeah, here it is. This is them. Like, you guys are more than welcome to watch it at some points as well. But it's essentially, it's like a guy that remotely hacks into a Jeep or remotely kills a Jeep.
Kills. Okay. Does he? I was gonna say, does he drive it remotely? Because like I feel like if he's just disconnecting it or connecting it, it's different.
Yeah. But if anything, if enough too, like, that is something that I am fearful of as like we keep progressing into this space. And this is not just
Well-
even for EV cars. It's just like the more and more of
There
like,
there definitely needs to be a lot of context. How do you? I mean, there needs to be a lot of context because I don't see how you just hack into a car like that.
yeah. Yeah. If anything, like, hacking into a car is actually much more like labor intensive for the hacker to actually just achieve just to like kill a car. But who
Well,
knows?
it's probably far more premeditated, like by just the very nature of cars. Like
Yeah.
you really have to like work to hit a specific car.
Yeah. But I digress. That's just something that I am, in this case, that's what my fears are still around to. Even though, like, nowadays too, I don't think that it's actually that common for people to like hack other people's cars. But then there was that time as well where like everybody was able to like hijack like a lot of Hyundai cars with a USB stick.
The fuck?
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
that was a
context
whole
of that
trend.
is they got into the car. They broke into the car, and they just essentially pulled out the ignition, like where you put the key in. They just took that part out and used the USB because there's like a little slot that actually starts up your car, and they just put the USB in that and twisted the ignition essentially. They didn't even hotwire. It's not even a hot wire.
Yeah, it's literally the most brute force method possible. And it was apparently
Not
a
even brute
TikTok
force.
trend.
Hot
Oh,
wire
is that the
brute force.
key? Is that like the Kia stuff? Like the whole
Yeah.
like how
Yeah.
everyone's stealing Kias? That's all it
The
is.
Kia boys.
The Kia boys. They just pop open the ignition slot and slip in a USB.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, it was already bad enough too that like they did have to recall a lot of cars to like try to address this issue.
They didn't recall him. They just gave him a steering wheel lock.
Oh, that. Oh,
And
okay.
Kia is being sued for it.
Oh, okay. Well, there's that at least. But obviously, it was already bad to really begin with that. So anything, that's all its own separate issues that it has, and I think we've gone past it as well. I hope.
The Kia
Nah.
boys? No.
The trend would never die off.
God damn it! I fucking hate social media. But
Oh yeah.
but without
either
social
way.
media, I won't be able to see cool cars. So there's that.
But either way, the Hyundai and Kias that are being stolen are like the cheap ones that have the
Mhm.
key ignition. The one with the keyless fob, those can't be stolen easily.
Yeah, because they still require at least like the key fob to at least be nearby for it to still start up.
Yeah.
But
That is also rolling code based, so you can't just really brute force that.
so, what's that? Does that answer some of your conspiracy theory, at least from my end?
A little bit, yeah.
All right,
No.
fair enough. Oh, fuck you, Victor.
I need to look into more of this hacked car things because this is like there's just zero context
Yeah, there's a
on
lot
how
of
they do it.
yeah. Obviously, too, infosec area too is something that like it's still something that I'm still like treading like the surface layer of what the people have done about this.
Okay, because this other guy tries to do it by just giving the car a bunch of codes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's not the real hacking. What is the video that you linked? I'm really interested on that one.
Yeah, the hackers normally kill Jeep on a highway. So, I think that's again.
And they really do not say how they did it.
Yeah, unfortunately, they don't say how they did it for this one. It's only 5 minutes.
I would say, fortunately, they didn't say how they did it.
Well, it's not fortunately. It should be unfortunately because then car
I'm thinking
companies
about-
don't know how to fix it.
I'm thinking about the car companies will look in how to fix it, but if you tell people how to do it, they're going to do it.
Oh, hacking is not easy. No one's gonna do it.
Yeah, but who knows? I think right now, I think we're going off that tangent. I think this is probably a good time to end the podcast session here. We are running at the recording time of an hour 25.
All right.
Oh man.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, if anything, thank you for listening to us to rant on about like other shit too. And probably in this case, there probably isn't a lot of Toyota shit talk here, but it's at least enough in my eyes.
Well, it's an hour of Toyota shit talking, so it's good enough.
Well, any last minute wordings that you guys want to instill onto our viewers, and especially the people on YouTube?
No.
All right.
Yeah.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, please. I need that engagement, please. I don't care who picks up my channel too. I wish it was Taco Bell. Oh, well. Yeah, well, we'll catch you all next week. See ya.
Goodbye. And Canes or no deal.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, Canes are no deal.
Ah.